Good evening, everyone. We'll begin in just a couple moments. Good evening. My name is Tracy Hurley, and I will be tonight's moderator. I would like to welcome you to the St. James 2022 Candidate Forum. We will begin our evening with a Pledge of Allegiance in both English and Spanish. Please rise and say the pledge in English first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yo prometo ante la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y la República que representa una nación bajo Dios entera, con libertad y justicia para todos.
Thank you. Please be seated. If anyone does need Spanish interpretation, it is to my right, your left. You'll see a yellow sign on the wall. We will have interpreters available to assist you there. Oh, sure.
Si gusta escuchar las respuestas y preguntas en español, a la izquierda de la sentarios es donde vamos a ayudarle con ese lenguaje.
We would like to thank the sponsors of tonight's forum, the St. James City, St. James Chamber of Commerce, St. James Public Schools and Community Education, St. James EDA, Rotary, and Sertoma. We would also like to thank the Watonwan County Entertainment Association for allowing us to use their new sound system, Dick Jacobson and Gary Anderson for their audio and video support. Let's show our appreciation with a round of applause for the sponsors and all the people brave enough to run for public office. We are recording this evening's forum, and it will be available soon for viewing on the school's website and Facebook page, the city's website and Facebook page, and the Discover St. James Facebook page. I ask that you please double check any and all devices that may make noise. Make sure they are turned off. If your device starts to make a noise, you will automatically be selected to run for an open office. The format for the forum will be, candidates will have the opportunity to introduce themselves and make a 1-minute opening statement. Candidates will be asked questions and have 1 1/2 minutes for each response. A 30-second rebuttal will be allowed. There will be time for questions from the audience during each round. Please see a committee member for a card to write your question on, and the committee members are in the back So please feel free to get a card from them, or raise your hand and they'll bring you a card. You may also speak with the candidates individually after the event. Each position of office will end with the candidates able to make a 1-minute closing statement. Does everyone understand the process?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get the fun started. For school board, we have 3 positions available, and we have 4 candidates running. Luisa Trapero, Rich Spitzner, Nancy Vite, and Mike Tonsager. Okay, we'll start with you, Luisa, and then we'll work our way towards me. COVID-19 has had a dramatic impact on our educational system. How do you view the district's response, and what should the priorities be for early 2023?
Good afternoon. Well, the district, I think, has their own plan on what the kids need. I know we are a little bit overwhelmed with all the COVID. I think in every situation or everywhere that we go, COVID has hit everyone hard, but especially kids, because of that interaction. For the school, I think it has a plan, because I've been into the plan that they're doing for the next 5 years. So I think they have a really good plan on what are they going to do for, and the priorities they're going to have for the kids.
Okay, thank you. Mike, same question?
Can you repeat the question?
I sure can. COVID-19 has had a dramatic impact on our educational system. How do you view the district's response, and what should the priorities be for 2023?
Having been on the board during that process, I think the school did a good job following the guidelines that were put out. I think as a district, we did everything we could to maximize learning during a difficult time. Now that we're, back in person with really not restrictions, I think the priority is to make sure that the kids can gain as much comfort back one-on-one with their learning. I think that it's going to help kids, learn better, but also be able to interact with students and adults in a different setting than just looking at a screen. So I think priority is to just make sure everybody's back on track and testing to the standards the state outlines.
Okay. Nancy, same question.
So I think that, it's not, everybody in general has been affected for COVID-19. And as a mom, because that's the role that I was doing, during this transition between having to take care of the kids, making sure that they were in class, they had the connection available, and so on and so forth. I think that one of the priorities that we should focus on should not only be on the educational piece, but also on the mental health piece of it. Over this 2 years, we've seen a lot of burnout on our teachers. Unfortunately, the students that don't learn the traditional way have fallen even more behind. The ones that were doing well, the common denominator was that they had a support system. So I think that not only curriculum-wise, that should be the focus, but we should also focus on what areas were there that maybe we could have done better. Other than that, that we did the best we could, taking in consideration that there was no precedent to the situation.
Thank you. Rich?
Well, with COVID-19, I think Dr. Heil did a nice job of navigating through the system there. I think the priority for 22, of course, is in-school learning. Everybody wants that, but you have to keep in mind the safety, and that's what we've kept in mind, is the safety of the students if you have to do something other than in-school learning. So I think the path is good, in-school learning, as long as we can do that. If there happens to be another crisis, well, we'll have to look at it at that point, but I think everybody's priority is in-school learning.
Okay. Mike, we'll start this question with you. Do you believe that there are racial and social inequalities in our district? How should this issue be addressed? Racial and social inequalities. Yeah.
I do think there are some inequalities. I think that it's unfortunate, but I think that the school as a district looks at that and tries to find ways to engage. Really? All right. I'll get this closer. Usually they don't say that to me. It's the other thing. Be quiet. There, that's better. I think that there is inequality, and I think as a district, again, I've been on the school board, I think, almost 8 years. I think throughout that time, we've tried to do our best to engage different ethnicities, different social, economic backgrounds, and do our best to, make school and make literature that goes out and provide classroom experiences from bilingual paras to, I think that they've expanded, or I know we've expanded English language learning, and I think that all of those factors are, and including our strategic plan, is to continue to integrate people and make sure everybody's equal on one level. So that's where we're at.
Thank you, Mike. Nancy, same question.
Could you repeat it for
I
me?
can. I probably won't be able to pronounce it this time either, but do you believe that there are racial and social economical inequalities? I should have practiced. Do you believe that there are racial and social economic inequalities in our district? How should this issue be addressed?
It's one of those things where you'll get two sides of the story. That is a big part of the reason why I decided to run. Because I believe that for parents to feel comfortable getting close or like asking questions, like they need to have representation at the school level. We've seen it so many times where it's like the message gets lost when we use the interpreters. And I know that we're trying the best that we can, to accommodate for those parents, but I think it's something that it's give and take. Like the school has done whatever they can to accommodate, but we also need to find ways to like bring people, parents from the diversity, from diverse backgrounds, so that they get to learn how the system works, and for them to know that they do have a voice in what happens at the school level. In other grounds, I think that it will be a learning process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Rich?
Well, I believe there is inequalities, and I think our school district is trying to address those. We just did a new 5-year plan this last year, and our mission in that plan is a school community committed to supporting lifelong learners and fostering respect for all. Also in that, we have a vision, a lifetime of learning, growing, and succeeding together. So I think that's directed right towards that, with some core values of growth, respect, integrity, and thrive. So I think we're trying to do that. It's a tough topic, but I think we're trying to do that.
Okay. Luisa?
Yes, we do have a racial inequality, and we also have economic inequality, because our district is also a high free and reduced lunch, which that's an inequality itself. Racial, well, we still, and I'm sure from I remember, the district was working on this racial inequality too, because I remember they used to have the social club for the kids, and for the teachers, they also had a social justice club, which also, gives the appearance to the teachers, to the staff, and the kids. So that's, bringing that material of the inequality and the social inequality to everybody. And besides, I think the district is so unique because we are set in a really community that brings that inequality with us, and we embrace that because we have so many things in our in our county here, in our town, that celebrate that inequality. But we want to have it justice for everybody, but, starting and bringing those multicultural fiestas and all other stuff that could be open to diverse, I think that would be a good step.
Thank you,
to-
Luisa. Your time is up. I forgot to tell you I have to be the bad cop, too.
That's okay. I keep going.
Okay, Nancy, your question. What do you feel are the strengths of St. James Public Schools, and what areas would you like to see improved?
As an alumni of the schools here, graduating in 2007, I have continued to volunteer at the school, from time to time, talking about like healthy relationships, education, how there is something specifically for like the students that are first generation students, that there is more than just graduating and going work at a factory, where there's nothing wrong with that, but we need more people that are willing to, even if it's a technical school. I think that one of the strengths of the schools here is that the teachers are always willing to jump 2 feet in, and the teachers advocate for their students. They reach out for resources to see if they see students struggling and they don't have it within the school system. They're always willing to look outside of the school to see if there's anything that their students can benefit from. I just think that we have this we're very welcoming to all the students, newcomers, and the ones that move here, even from the area. I think that that's one of our strengths, that we find ways to celebrate that we are a very diverse community.
Okay. Do you have an answer to the what areas would you like to see improved?
I jump back to the area of mental health. As part of my job, I work with the schools here in Butterfield. I think that we need to put more focus on that. I had the opportunity to sit with the superintendent and look at the
Thank you,
5-year
Nancy.
plan. I'm too passionate about that.
Passion's good. Okay, Rich, same question. Strengths and areas you would like to see improved.
Well, I think the strengths of our school district and community, it's the community support. There's a lot of community support for our school system. We see that every month at our school board meetings, the number of people that donate gifts to our district so we can get things that we need. The other thing that I think is the strength is the opportunities that our school provides for the kids, as far as a wide range of classes, opportunities, and extracurricular. I think those are all strengths of our school district. The main thing we need to work on is our financial, build a fund balance, which has improved, but years back it was not very good, and Dr. Heil is working on that, and the board is working on that, but that's the one weakness we have to keep watching.
Okay, thank you. Luisa?
Okay, strength. Our school has so many strengths. One of them is the students itself, the teachers, the staff, everyone that works for the district. That's a big strength for not just the school, but the whole community. Improvements, like Nancy said, that mental health part. I think a lot of kids are suffering from mental health, but we don't see it. And this will be also part of that COVID that we all, I think everybody knows about it, that those are one of the issues that we have. Also that, we just talk about the inequality. Those are stuff that we could improve, and I'm sure we're making improvements, but we could do better than that.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Mine will probably sound a lot like Rich's because we discuss these things quite a bit. I think we have an excellent staff, and I think especially during COVID, we saw how good the staff is during tough times. They still manage to do a good job with the students. I think we embrace diversity in this district, and as we said from a previous question, I think we need to continue to do a better job with that. Another strength is definitely community support. Every week, like Rich says, we read all these donations that people make. That's pretty cool. I mean, we read them out loud at the meeting because that's very important to see that. Also, the opportunities from career fairs that we're going to try to do this year to, classes that kids can take that might be in a trade field. Also, college classes, some kids that happen to get graduate might already have a year of college behind them. Weaknesses, I would say we need to do a better job of building our unrestricted fund balance, make sure that we're fiscally responsible to the taxpayers and to the community in general. And I think we're doing a better job thanks to Dr. Heil.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, Rich, you'll begin this question. St. James collaborates with area schools for multiple services. How important do you feel this is, and what areas would you like to see strengthened or changed?
Are we talking more community ed? Is that what we're talking?
We can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I know community ed works well with the different communities Sue Harris does. I'm not as familiar with all the programs that she deals with, but I know she deals with those with Adelia, Butterfield, and I believe Maple River. So we should continue those. That seems fine. As far as the school itself, we have sharing agreements with a couple different sports, and those are fine. We have a hockey with Wyndham that we've had 20, 30 years, and I believe we had another one. I can't recall which one, what's the other one on it. So those are case by case on it. That works out good, but we've had that one for quite a few years.
Okay, thank you, Rich. Louisa?
Like Rich was saying, I think the school is doing really good on collaboration. I think that's something that we have done the district have done for quite a few years, and I think it's really good on it. One of the changes that I would like to see, also our district is rich in a lot of the classes that we give out. And I also would like to that be changed to more kids and collaborate with other districts that may also have the opportunities like Jackson that has the opportunity with that college that kids have those kind of primarily classes. Collaboration with the sports. I know we do have a lot of collaboration with sports. I know that Medelia has collaboration with us. Right now, I think it's Wyndham that is doing the hockey part of it. So we do have really good collaboration, and I'm sure there's so many collaboration from our partners here in town. They do a lot of collaboration with the school to have our kids to learn from different, medicine or optical or many different business that we have here in town.
I don't want to rebuttal, but I want to mention our agreement with soccer with Medelia and Wyndham. So, right now with Wyndham, but it's just with Wyndham right now, I'm sorry. Hockey, or soccer, excuse me.
Okay. Mike?
I think with regards to collaboration, I think sports is obviously something that we touched on, but also I think area businesses, if we, could reach out more to them and experience, have some kids maybe either go to some of those businesses, which I know some have. I know that kids have come out to the hospital, and I think over probably 7 weeks have worked in different areas, from housekeeping all the way to the surgical area, to nursing, to administration, so they can experience a whole gamut of different careers. I think it would be nice to reach out even to some businesses like even plumbing and electrical, to get kids to have an opportunity to maybe hang out there and see a little bit about what those other type of activities are like. I think it's important when we can to try to share resources, whatever that might be. They talk about, I know the gals have talked about mental health, perhaps there's a way for the school to collaborate with, some other health. Oops. Does that mean stop?
That means you have
Oh,
15
okay.
seconds.
Okay. I just saw her do that, and I'm like, well, did I say?
That was a bleep because you swore.
Okay. To reach out, to perhaps look at some of those things that can maybe be, brought to the school to maybe help some of the kids.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Done.
Now you got the red one, that means E. Okay, Luisa, we're back to you. Our district has continually added more early education. Oh,
No, Nancy didn't answer.
Nancy, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
Can I collaborate?
Yeah?
Okay, just making sure. So do I believe that collaboration is important? Of course it is. I mean, what better way than make the connections with the surrounding area schools? And that way, not only for the purposes of sports, but like Mike was saying, for the purposes of skills. Unfortunately, right now, our kids are lacking, a lot of the cases, they're lacking that connection, that one-on-one connection. They're always behind the screen. So there should be more of that, whether that means that we collaborate with like area businesses, like Mike was saying, for them to try and like gain that knowledge or gain a skill or try to get an idea of what is it that they would like to do after school to prepare them to become, adults that have a skill or that have a way to survive out there in the world. And then at the same time, making those connections with the other schools to learn from them, and they can learn from us, and then it's a win-win situation, I believe.
Okay. Now we'll move on to Luisa. Our district has continually added more early education and child care services to our program and budget. Do you support this increase, and will you support the continuation of these services and programs, even if there are budget shortfalls?
I do support that because we need to help our kids, because right now, what the measurement of the state and the kids right now, some of them might be falling behind, but having those kind of programs are so vital for the future of those kids. There is, I know that we might find some budgets stall there, but there's funds that we could get. And there it goes. There's another partnership. We could partnership with different organizations or either universities to help us on that part, because they would be willing to help us if there is a fall of that, that we wouldn't be able to give that support to those kids. But there is funds that we could find. There is other partnerships, that we could use for those kids that are early childhood. Early childhood is the must-have for every kid to succeed. And if a kid succeeds in our district, everybody succeeds. So it's a support.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Can you repeat the question?
I can. Our district has continually added more early education and child care services to our program and budget. Do you support this increase, and will you support the continuation of these services and programs, even if there are budget shortfalls?
Yeah, being on the school board, yes, we have continued to place emphasis on early childhood family education. I think it's important that we do our best to make sure when kids do enter school that they're, do our best to get them at a level where they need to be or where they're similar to other kids, so they're not trying to play catch up. As far as funding, we've always seemed to find ways to support early childhood, and I think we will continue to do that. So that's it.
Thank you, Mike. Nancy?
I believe that, investing in early childhood and anything related to the kids is like investing in our future, simple as that. Because it's it's right there. It's about being preventative versus being reactive. You know, if we wouldn't invest that money in putting it towards those services for early childhood families or, you know, younger kids, we in the future, we would have to invest the money in getting services because they're either falling behind or they're not learning at the same rate as the other kids. So, you know, and from working with the schools, I know that there's a lot of preparing that goes behind that, or having to, you know, for the kids that have special that needs or that have a learning disability, we're having to reach out to other schools because we're not able to serve them at the level that they deserve sometimes. So do I believe it's important? Yes, I do. It's pretty much, you know, the beginning of having preventative versus waiting until they're already behind.
Okay, thank you. Rich?
Yes, I think it's important to continue funding early childhood education. We also were one of the first ones that had pre-K for everyone, and I think it helps to determine how successful they will be in their school years. So I would say, yes, we should still continue to find ways to fund that if money comes short. So I think it's important to narrow the learning gap between different kids.
Okay, thank you. Mike, next question will begin with you. Hiring and retaining employees is becoming more difficult each year. What strategies would you propose to attract, hire, and retain excellent quality staff?
That is difficult, and we are trying to do our best in the school to hire and retain. I wish I had the answer for that. I mean, this year we lost a lot of teachers, and a big reason for that is some of those individuals go back, at least several of them went back to their hometowns. I think what we need to try to do is to try to encourage students in high school, even in our own district, to, you know, about education and make it, you know, potentially figure out a way to help them come back to our community. I think when people are from a community, I think they're more apt to want to stay. A lot of the teachers that are coming, excuse me, into a small town like this, I don't think necessarily always appreciate what we have to offer. But I think somebody, you know, sometimes at the hospital, they always say, grow your own. Do your best to encourage and bring people back. And I think that in several instances we have, and I think really that's, you know, what we're going to have to try to do.
Nancy?
Hiring and maintaining, that's, you know, one of the things that it is difficult, but when it comes to teachers or like, you know, a group of people that are trying to work together for the same goal, it's always important that everybody feels included, that there is leadership versus, if you have good leadership, you have people that are committed. You know, the teachers are the face, like they're the front, they're the ones that are dealing with the kids. So I think, you know, going back to what I mentioned at the beginning, like with the mental health and the burnout of the teachers, if there's, I think that it's important for them to not only feel heard, but be heard. That, you know, that we have ways for them to feel supported. And when people feel supported, they don't leave, to say it that way. You know, it might not apply to this case in a specific, but I remember I went to a leadership training, and one of the things that was said was that people don't leave jobs. People leave the people that are above them, the people that are supervising them, because everybody wants to go to have a job, especially the teachers that went to school with the passion of teaching. They want to go to work and they live for those kids. But if going to work means I have to deal with so-and-so.
Thank you, Nancy. Rich?
Can you repeat the question?
I may. Hiring and retaining employees is becoming more difficult each year. What strategies would you propose to attract, hire, and retain excellent quality staff?
Well, I think we're open to suggestions, if you have any. We are trying some things like help local students and employees that want to go back to school for Grow Your Own. So we can have employees that will probably want to stay home, which if this is home, they'd maybe want to stay here. So we tried that, or are trying that. I also think it's important to have a good working environment and feel appreciated on it. I think we're doing a better job of that they feel appreciated because they went through the pandemic like all stars. That was a very difficult situation. And the pay, I'm sure they'd all like to get paid more, but that's all kind of based on state funding, and we need to be as frugal as we can with the state money so we can pay our employees, but there's a lot of other things that need to be taken care of also. So we're open to suggestions on how to do that, and I think we're trying to do the best we can right now.
Okay. Luisa?
Retaining. I think, retaining our teachers that we have now, it's providing them with resources that they need. Also, like my other partners here have said before, it's make them feel appreciated, because that's part of staying in one job. And, getting more teachers here, I know it's a small town, and when they're just brand new out of college, they don't want to come to a small town. But we could do and go back to, I'm not so sure we still do it, but there was a grow your own path. And I think we should talk about that right now. Make sure that our kids are going for classes and we're providing them for those classes so we could grow our own teachers for our own schools.
Okay. Thank you. So I was reminded that I forgot to have you do your 1-minute opening statement at the beginning. So the next person up is Nancy. So Nancy, you can give your opening statement first.
Introduce myself?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my name is Nancy Trujillo Vite, Vite for short. I have lived in St. James for 21 years. I graduated from St. James High School in 2007. I am the mother of 6 kiddos. One is already an adult and out in college. I still call her my kid, even though she's my stepdaughter, but it's my kid. I currently have a senior and a 4-month-old baby. I am a social worker here in the community, and I work with the schools. And one of the reasons why I decided to run for school board is because I've learned different things with working with the school and what best interests. My best interest is obviously that my kids are in the school and that I feel that parents like me should be also involved in the things that affect their kids.
Okay. Rich?
Rich Spitzner. I've been on the school board 8 years, 2 different terms. I'm a retired teacher. I still farm. I taught 35 years, 5 at Stoughton Jeffers and 30 at St. James. I have 3 grandchildren in the district, and so it's important, it's important to me that our students are getting a good education on it. It's one of the reasons I'm on the school board. I feel our present school board has good communications and works well together, and I hope that continues. One of our greatest accomplishments, I think, was hiring our superintendent, Dr. Heil. Has made our job easier. As you all know, he's visible, personable, looks at all the areas in the district, and is improving our financial position. So I think that was a great thing that our board did.
Okay. Luisa?
Well, good afternoon. My name is Luisa Trapero. I've been living here in the community for more than 25 plus years. I'm really involved in the community. I am a mother of 3 girls, 2 St. James graduates and a 10th grader. Also, I work here in the community also. I work for the U of M in a lot of the community practice or community events that we do. We just did one school event this afternoon with the kids. the after-school kids, and I enjoy being here and working with the community, because if the community strives, everybody strives, and I think that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to work with the school board.
Okay. Mike?
I'm Mike Tonsager. I wasn't born and raised here, but it's hard to believe I've actually been here 31 years, more than I've lived anywhere in my life. So I consider this home. I've been on the school board 8 years. I've got 3 adult kids or children that were raised here, and now they don't live here, but I'm trying to encourage them to come back. I love the rural setting. I can't imagine going back to where I grew up in Farmington, which was a tiny town of 4,000, and now it's 30,000. So I have no desire to be anywhere near that anymore. I love being on the school board. I think in the last 8 years we made some real positive changes, and I think we're moving in a really good direction with the new administration, and I'd like to continue to see how
Thank you,
that
Mike.
improves. You're welcome.
Okay, a question from the audience. We'll start this with Rich. I have heard lots so far about sports, and yes, it is definitely important, but what about music, band, marching band, and choir? What's your vision? What do you think we could do to enhance those programs?
Those aren't areas that I participated in when I was in school, except when I was younger, and so that's not an area that I would try to say what should happen. I would leave that to other people that have been in that track and let them decide what their vision is for that.
Okay. Luisa?
Yeah, sports is a big here in town, but music, art, and the arts and choir, my girls are always been in it. And there's research that proven that kids that take art and music are more developed, they're more open to see the world more different. So to me, I'm in support of all that because my girls have always done that passionately, and they still continue because we are also, if any of you would like to also provide for our fundraising that we're doing for the little theater, that we're trying to refurnish or change the seat, I would love that because that's one of the passions that I think it's in my heart, and also it comes in my family because my brother was also a theater person, a musical person, so it's something that comes in my family. So it's something that I would support 100%.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I think that arts, music are important. They develop a well-rounded student. It definitely, like she says, it works a different part of your brain that they definitely know. You talk about people that are very creative. They use a whole different system, which I don't have. I can't sing. I know nothing about music. But my daughter really enjoyed it, and I think it's important if you're going to develop a well-rounded child to definitely incorporate arts and music. My daughter loved art. She still loves art, and her little 2-year-old loves art. So I think it's very important.
Nancy?
Music, art, all those things that are hold to my heart. If you've heard the national anthem at Relay for Life, you've probably heard my daughter Allison singing the national anthem there. Like, she just loves it. And it's something that, even since she was little, we would always, support that, because here is the thing. We find the value of art. We see art everywhere. So it is important to support it because it's a way even for kids. We have music therapy, and that is just an example of the beautiful things that music is capable of doing, like relaxing people, no different than meditation and other things like that. It's super important, and it's just one more thing that the kids can do instead of just being out and about. Once again, we go back to that human connection that's another way in which they can connect with other people, other kids that have the same likings.
Okay. We begin closing statements with Rich.
Well, I'm still interested in our financial position, and I want to keep an eye on that. I think we have a great district. We have a lot of things that are started, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these will grow in the future. I think we have a great administration that is going to make sure all those areas that maybe aren't some of our strengths will be still looked at. So I'm looking forward to being on the board again if you elect me.
Luisa?
Why you guys need to vote for me? One of the things that I would like to work in if I'm able to be in the school board is the work with the district in many different positive ways, because we have a lot of positives in our district, a lot of them, but we also have a lot of work to do. And I think I could be one of the voices of doing that work, because I'm committed to our community, but also, having the equitable amount of women in the district, as a board member, because right now we feel kind of even, becoming, being a woman, and especially being a woman of color. I think that's so important for our view of our students, any girl that it's looking to see a role model, they need to see that.
Thank you, Luisa. Mike?
I've enjoyed being on the school board the last 8 years. I think we've definitely made some positive gains. Myself, I don't think there's anything more important that you can offer to anybody but a good quality education. Sports are important, all of those things, don't get me wrong, but in the end, regardless of income, regardless of a lot of things, if you can give a kid a quality education, it sets them up for a much better life and fulfilled life, I think. I mean, I'm very pleased with the education that my kids got, and I just hope that all kids can receive a fair quality education. So, thank you.
Nancy?
I wanted to thank you all for coming out today. I don't know if I'll have that chance to thank you for that. Like I said before, a big part of this is because I think that there needs to be more representation. Representation of the parents around my age in the school board. I am part of the representation of the community, of our very diverse community, not only as a woman of color, but as a bilingual person, and also as a professional. I had the opportunity to sit with the superintendent and look at that 5-year plan, and it's something that I'm definitely looking forward to and would like to be part of if I'm selected for the school board. If there's something that we agreed on that superintendent mentioned is, I want other schools to say, I want what St. James has. I've thought about that too, with looking at other counties and what other counties have and other districts have, and that's something I like.
Thank you, Nancy. We will now have a quick break and reset our stage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is she coming up?